The super speed dilemma. If you know, you know.
Period. Super speed is my favorite superpower.
Facts,
period.
me too.
I simply enjoy almost everything about it. The problem is,
if I had a superpower, it would be super speed. You can do everything with it. Travel anywhere. It's basically teleportation, but like a little bit more fun. If you know anything about Barry Allen, he's used super speed to fly. Like he's walked on water particles in the air because he's so fast and like they're still in the air. He's basically used that to fly up in the air. Flying would be cool, but like flying with no super strength, that's boring. If it was one superpower, super speed. Super speed is all around the best. You can do a lot with it.
Almost impossible to implement into a film, show, or animation without some sort of inconsistency popping up.
This is the best super
speed
in the world,
it
but it
seems
sets
that
them
the
up for
cooler you
terrible.
try to make a speedster look, the more unusable they become. Now, what does that even mean? Let's take the scene with Quicksilver from X-Men, for example. It's one of the most memorable, entertaining, and unique scenes from the X-Men movies, and is clearly extremely popular. He quickly became one of the audience's favorite characters in this film. Here's the problem. By showcasing the speedster's powers in this way, you've now made it almost impossible to balance this character. By establishing that he can move so fast bullets travel at the pace of a garden snail, you've thrown away almost any chance of including this character in a fight down the line, because they would just go up and clap the bad guy's booty cheeks before you can even realize what's happening. And it always ends up with the audience feeling dissatisfied, because the consequence of getting to...
Now, what I will say about this scene specifically with Jean Grey and Quicksilver, they say, oh, it doesn't make sense. He can move so fast, but she doesn't have super speed, but she was able to do that. Jean Grey is an Omega level mutant, even without the Phoenix Force. So for her to do this, I'm not too upset about it, because she may not be able to move fast, but I think she can think fast. You know, in terms of, she's a telekinetic and telepath. So I think she can think fast. And mind you, she has the Phoenix Force in this scene. So like, her powers are on like times 100. So I think it's possible for her to beat him in this scene. Especially like, you know, like, even though she moved her hand, I feel like she noticed, like her mind was moving so fast, like as fast as him, she was able to do it. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it is.
See their favorite character in action is seeing their favorite character tossed aside.
I think Jean Grey's a mega level. I think. I'm pretty sure.
That's the super speed dilemma. And today, let's go over some possible solutions on how to fix this problem. How do we create a scenario where we can have our favorite speedster not hold back in a fight and also keep them consistent? How do we make a seemingly unbeatable character struggle? Well, first, we have to identify the types of speedsters we typically see in films and shows. I've found speedsters tend to fall into one of these three general categories. So let's begin with my personal favorite out of the three, the perpetual speedster. This is someone like Red Rush, who all day, every day experiences things in super speed. Every second of every moment is slow motion for him.
You can't see things how I do. My perception is just as fast as I am. The briefest conversation with anyone seems like hours to me. It's agony.
Next, we have the situational speedster. These are speedsters who we see are capable of living at normal speed. This also seems to be the most common type of speedster. Most representations of the Flash, Quicksilver, and speedsters from other shows likely fall into this category. These are speedsters who only seem to go into super speed mode either when they're in a dangerous situation or when they choose to activate super speed. And finally, we have the simply fast. These speedsters are, well, just fast. They don't seem to have super react, where the world around them appears to be in slow motion because of how their reaction time keeps up with the speed at which they're moving. And here's the important part. Even if they do have some sort of super react, it's never explicitly shown. These speedsters are the easiest ones to keep consistent, because although they have the ability to move incredibly fast, it doesn't seem like their perception of time keeps up with that level of speed. And again, even if it does, it's something we're not explicitly shown. And I'll talk about why that's so important later. So now that we've got the three main categories we'll be working with for this video, let's talk about what causes this inconsistency. And really, it boils down to one thing in particular, which you've probably noticed me emphasize, and that's the character's perceived level of power from the audience's perspective. If from the audience's point of view, there's too great of a perceived imbalance of power between our speedster and their enemy, then of course that defeat isn't going to be accepted.
Now, that battle, this makes This makes perfect sense. Freaking is that his name? Apocalypse, fucking yeah, Apocalypse is the villains of villains. He's the mutant of mutants. He's the baddest. Like, he can do anything. Like, he's like absorbed so many powers over the years. Like, he can do anything. Like, Quicksilver, if he's not going to want to fight, it's him.
Speedster and their enemy, then of course that defeat isn't going to be accepted. Regardless of how powerful these characters actually are in the lore or in the comics or in the movie itself, it's that perceived level of power that truly matters when it comes to creating that entertaining experience. To further establish my point regarding this perceived imbalance of power, let's take a look at two different examples from the X-Men movies. One is Quicksilver fighting Apocalypse, and the other is Quicksilver fighting Jean Grey. We have to keep in mind that not everyone who watches these movies has read the comics, as like me, we've only encountered these characters through these films. And so again, it's very important to fully establish what these characters are capable of if you don't want a character's defeat to feel like it's out of place. And after some reflection, it seems like the reason why I and so many others felt like the writers pulled this fast reaction super.
Mind you, Quicksilver and Barry Allen, they can heal fast, but not like in minutes. So when he broke his leg here,
power out of their ass just to defeat Quicksilver in this scene was because up until this point we never saw him use this ability. Every other power he uses in this final fight has been shown before.
So he's saying because he didn't see in the movie beforehand this particular power, it doesn't make sense. Bro, Apocalypse can do so many things.
Like the writers pulled this fast reaction superpower out of their ass just to defeat Quicksilver in this scene was because up until this point we never saw him use this ability. Every other power he uses in this final fight has been shown before, all except this one. That's why it feels so out of place, and that's why it feels like Quicksilver was killed off just for the sake of getting rid of our overpowered speedster. What X-Men Apocalypse should have done is show him using this adaptive reaction time at least once. It could have been as easy as him quickly reacting to a surprise attack, or for example dodging a bullet, instead of simply disintegrating the gun. Simply by letting us know that he has this superpower, Quicksilver's defeat suddenly feels much more reasonable. And the same thing applies for Jean Grey. We've never seen her react to things this fast before, so once again it's an imbalance in perceived power. Even though her character at this point is incredibly powerful and probably does have the ability to do this, the fact that we've never caught a glimpse of this before made this defeat so unacceptable. In other words, if you're gonna have a powerful character get defeated by an enemy, make sure they're being defeated by something the audience already understands or has acknowledged. Otherwise, it's gonna feel like you pulled something out of your ass just to get that character out of the way.
Well, that's just you not knowing the character, and that's your own fault.
Super speed really is a power that requires tremendous amounts of creativity to do properly, and I personally believe there's still so much to explore. Going back to Perpetual Speedster specifically, I'd like to talk about the serious untapped potential this type of speedster has in terms of storytelling. In my opinion, one of the best ways to go about using a speedster like this is to make a show like One Punch Man, a show that embraces the fact that the main character is nearly unbeatable, and making it work by having their true battle be internal instead of external. We even saw glimpses of the show kind of going in this direction when Red Rush first explained his power. This kind of speedster would fit so well into a show with a darker tone that revolves around an internal conflict.
Can I do the best that I can do? Right now, honey, the world just wants us to fit in, and to fit in, we just gotta be like everybody else.
But Dad always said our powers were nothing to be ashamed of. Our powers made us special.
Everyone's special, Dash.
Which is another way of saying no one is.
Right. Next up, we have the most common type of speedster, which we see everywhere, the situational speedster. This is the kind of speedster that seems to be able to control when their power is active and when it isn't. So unlike the perpetual speedster, they can actually live a normal life. This type of speedster typically loses fights when they, for no reason whatsoever, exit out of super speed just to stand there and do nothing, allowing the enemy to, punch them.
Yeah, why did he jump out of super speed?
yeah, there's not much else to say about
I've seen all the episodes of The Flash, but I've never gone back and rewatched them, and I'm not going to. But that was
this,
ridiculous.
and I'm not about to go on a rant. If the superpower is one they'd have to intentionally turn on every single time, then they'd still be susceptible to surprise attacks. However, if their super speed has been shown to activate automatically whenever they're in danger, in this situation, the most you can do is have the enemy be clever. Whatever the case, it's worth it to experiment with more creative ideas so that both our protagonists and antagonists don't end up looking like a bunch of idiots who just stand there, and antagonists
Step on quick for the chat.
don't end up looking like a bunch of
Hawkeye wasn't trying to actually hurt him. He was just trying to like fuck him up. You know what I'm saying?
idiots who just stand
He
there
was actually
and
trying
do
to like
nothing.
capture him.
Whoever you are, give yourself up.
And finally, the Simply Fast. As we previously established, this is the most consistent type of speedster, as they simply just aren't that overpowered, resulting in the show not having to make them extremely stupid in order to beat them. And in my opinion, this is the type of speedster that is most suitable for films, shows, and animations in general. Without a reaction time as fast as they are, enemies have the ability to catch them off guard, set up traps and ambushes, or directly confront them in the fight. And as we mentioned before, even if your speedster does have some level of super react, it's important to never explicitly show it to the audience, because as long as the viewer doesn't know exactly how fast they can see things, a speedster's defeat by some sort of surprise attack would likely still be acceptable in the viewer's eyes.
He could have just moved behind the car, but I'm assuming he got hit moving them.
You didn't see that coming.
And even without Super React, there's still so much opportunity to show off their speed in cool ways. Take for example Makari in Eternals, using shockwaves as an attack instead of punches. Or these beautiful shots where we see her speeding across the landscape at regular speed. Like seriously, let's get more creative with this superpower, and if it really ends up being that complicated, directly reducing the top speed and the fastest reaction time a speedster can have would also seriously help. Dash is a fantastic example of this. He's just not that fast, and so you not once ever feel like this character is inconsistent. Not every single character that has super speed needs to be this incredibly overpowered, get everything done instantly sort of speedster.
For him to make friends.
He's got a whole ocean of friends. You're right. I'll do my best to make friends with the guy.
Joseph!
Or for example, if you really don't want to reduce the maximum speed a speedster can have, you can instead simply have something like this. This is an idea I've had for years, and I'm honestly surprised we haven't seen this get popularized yet.
Bro, quick intermission. NBA trades are going crazy. Lakers got Jimmy Butler, freaking for a bunch of people. I forget, and I'm not gonna list them all because I don't know. But I saw Kuzma got gone. I saw everybody got gone. Hold on, let me read some. Lakers are trading Dalton Knish, Cam Reddish, a 2031 unprotected first round pick, and 2023 pickup for the Hornet C-Mark. Oh my god, a bunch of people are. Brandon Ingram going on. You know what's crazy, K-Dot? This always happens around my birthday because the trade deadline is around February 5th. I think every year it happened last year too. And this happened with KD when he came to the Warriors. I think. Hella shit happened. Oh my god, it's going crazy. Full trade details. Warriors get Jimmy Butler. Heat get Andrew Wiggins, PJ Tucker. Pistons get, in the first round pick, Pistons get Lindy Waters, John Richards, and the Jazz get Dennis Schroeder, and the Raptors get Kyle Anderson. It's absolutely crazy. Now they had to change it, and then Jimmy Butler really didn't want to be in Miami. Like, I knew this was gonna happen. Like, he's been protesting Miami for days, and people are like, "Oh, why would the Warriors trade for somebody who's not gonna play?" Jimmy Butler didn't want to play in Miami, for Miami. He'll play for the Warriors. He just didn't want to play for Miami.
reaction time and speed slowly ramp up over time. Instead of immediately going from standing still to moving at 1,000 miles per hour, they have to, like a car, press the gas pedal and accelerate up to that top speed. This gives so much opportunity for the enemies to have counterattacks to their super speed, and it also allows the speedster to maintain that upper limit of power. But yeah, I really would like to see more attention on super speed as a whole.
Well,
it's not just an ability that's too overpowered for complexity, nor is it one which is only good for a cool slow motion sequence which leads to a character getting sidelined. By exploring some relatively unconventional ideas, we might finally start to get a glimpse of the incredible potential this superpower has to offer in terms of creating an interesting story.
Yeah, so that's the problem with Speedsters. I agree with him on a few things, but like
I used to pick up my...
He kind of really didn't understand a lot of stuff, so I don't know if I had this on my list. I think I did, but I don't think I'm gonna watch it today. Yeah, so that's the problem with Speedsters. I got some. If you're watching this on YouTube, anywhere else, like, subscribe, and share. If you're watching this, on TikTok, RegshotIt everywhere, like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate y'all. Bada bing, bada boom.